In the 48th year of his reign, the Qianlong Emperor was fabulously wealthy, powerful, and dangerously bored. His court's greatest entertainment was the rivalry between its two top ministers, the charmingly corrupt Lord He Shen and the brilliant, upright scholar Ji Xiaolan. He Shen was a master of logistics and flattery, his influence and wealth immense. Ji Xiaolan, the empire's conscience, preferred to fight corruption not with direct attacks, but with his sharp and devastating wit. One sweltering afternoon, He Shen stepped forward to cure the emperor's boredom. "Your Majesty, a tribute has arrived from the Western Oceans, a treasure of unparalleled rarity. The pearl of the Azure Deep." With a flourish, he opened a sandalwood box, revealing a pearl the size of a pigeon's egg. It swirled with the colors of a twilight sky and pulsed with a soft, internal light. The emperor was captivated. He Shen purred that it was harvested from a place where the sun never shone, and the humble price was 50,000 taels of silver, enough to fund a small army. Ji Xiaolan immediately smelled a rat. The price was absurdly inflated and surely destined for He Shen's pockets. After a brief verbal spare about the pearl's origins, Ji Xiaolan saw his opening. "Your Majesty," he announced, "its glow reminds me of a passage from a forgotten text, the Scroll of Celestial Discernment." The court leaned in. The scroll speaks of a legendary gem called the Shi de Ju, the virtue-testing pearl, Ji Xiaolan explained. "It says the pearl shines brightly in the presence of purity and honesty, but grows dim and cold in the hands of one whose heart is clouded by greed, deceit, or corruption." A profound silence fell over the hall. He Shen's smile froze. He had walked directly into a perfectly constructed trap. The emperor's eyes lit up with delight. "A virtue-testing pearl," the emperor boomed. "He Shen, you have brought us a moral compass for the court. We shall hold a ceremony tonight and pass the pearl from hand to hand. What fine entertainment." He Shen was trapped. He couldn't call Ji Xiaolan a liar or deny the pearl's noble purpose without insulting the emperor or looking guilty. Of course, there was no scroll of celestial discernment. Ji Xiaolan had invented it on the spot, but his plan was based on sharp intelligence. He had learned from a source that the pearl's glow faded after being handled. He recognized the effect from an old alchemical text. The pearl was a forgery coated with ghostfire spore, a bioluminescent fungus that glows when exposed to warmth and moisture, but quickly fades with repeated handling. Ji Xiaolan's plan was to elevate the fake into a legend that would use He Shen's own greed as the instrument of his public humiliation. That evening, the court's senior ministers assembled nervously. The test began. The pearl was passed down the line, from the Grand Tutor to the Minister of Rights. For some, it seemed to shine. For others, it subtly dimmed, earning them a sharp look from the emperor. When Ji Xiaolan received it, he held it briefly, recited a verse about integrity, and through a trick of the lantern light, it seemed to pulse with a brilliant blue. Finally, the pearl, its glow now visibly faint after being held by nearly 24 men, reached the end of the line. The last person to be tested was the man who had brought it, Lord He Shen. With a trembling hand, he took the pearl. For a second, a flicker of light remained. Then, as if snuffed out by the wind, the glow vanished completely, leaving nothing but a dark, lifeless stone in his palm. The court gasped. He Shen stared in horror, frantically rubbing the stone to no avail. The emperor, thoroughly amused, looked at He Shen. "The pearl does not lie," he said softly. "It appears you have some cultivation of your inner virtue to attend to." He Shen fell to his knees, stammering, "Your Majesty, the pearl! It must be a fake!" He immediately realized his mistake. "A fake?" The emperor's voice turned to ice. "This morning you assured me it was a miracle of nature worth 50,000 taels. Are you confessing to trying to defraud the throne?" Checkmate. He Shen was trapped. If it was fake, he was a fraud. If real, he was certified as corrupt. He mumbled his acceptance of the pearl's judgment. The emperor confiscated the pearl and announced the 50,000 taels would be considered a donation to charity. He Shen had lost his face and his fortune. Later, Ji Xiaolan simply glanced at his defeated rival and then up at the full, luminous moon, a silent, perfect conclusion to his victory. The emperor was smiling. The show had been worth every tael.